Welcome to the Solutions Development Workstream overview. It is what it says on the tin, and it's the workstream that really pulls everything together to give people hopefully tangible solutions to tangible problems. One of the biggest points in this is that not everyone has the answers to all the problems. In fact, not everyone understands what the problems are. And what we hope to be able to do is not just provide solutions, but also inspire you as individuals to take potential solutions back to your organizations and say, look at what's possible. And so part of that is about understanding what the requirements are. So what sort of things are we needing to do in order to solve problems? What does that look like? How does it shape? How big is that problem? And we're all coming at it from different perspectives, and it'll all be subtly different, which is why all our previous speakers are working towards making sure that we're doing this in a consistent manner as possible. But at the end of the day, what we want to do is provide some insight and inspiration to provide solutions. Now, as part of the fact that not everyone knows everything, what we also need to understand is that, you know, these solutions in projects are very typically common across all of the life cycles of a project, all of the functional areas of a project. And what we don't want to do is for you guys all to go and individually create an HSE dashboard or an emissions dashboard or whatever it happens to be that the tool of choice needs to be. What we want to do is provide inspiration of one example, and hopefully one that you can just plug in and work, but maybe not as easy as that, but to give you something absolutely tangible that you can take away and use that. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all is, what are the requirements? Secondly is, what use case do you have? What is the challenge? What is the problem statement that you have? And what we need to do is gather that in, collect that, and we need to map that together. And then once we formulate those challenges, we then need to look at, well, how do we solve them as a proof of concept? How do we take them forward as an MVP? And that's where we've got the solutions work stream. It's pulling forward ideas into the hacks that Martin mentioned earlier. So hack 8 was completed over the weekend there. And that provides the inspiration. That provides some ideas, some challenge, some inspiration as to what solutions are going to be available. And that's a feeder, and we need that hopper of ideas coming towards us to provide hoppers of solutions that you guys can take away. But the question is then, how do you actually get access to that? Who gets access to that? Should it be completely open source, or should it be slightly restricted? And Martin mentioned there about a marketplace. So what we're looking to do is have a central repository where people can dip in and get access to potential solutions to apps. So a common area for solutions, common solutions that we all need for common problems. And we all got to prioritize these things. So how do you prioritize this? How big is the problem? And it starts to become very, very complicated. And what were you going to use? If I can ask Ryoshi to jump to the next slide, is and distilling it down into some simple messages is, we need the challenges from the community, from you. The more challenges we have from you, the more we know which challenges to solve, because they're the most important ones, because most people are asking for them. And then what we can do is we can map all of these challenges, all the potential solutions, all the requirements, all the user stories into a knowledge graph. And there's a nice little pretty image there of what a knowledge graph output looks like. And the projecting success team are populating a knowledge graph to map this landscape. And for those of you that haven't seen this before, I suggest you have Google Neo4j, Neo4j, and have a look at what that does. And it allows you to look at problems and potential solutions from completely different perspectives. Really clever way to open up the mind as to what linkages exist between different problems and solutions. And is a very powerful tool to make sure that we don't miss things, and allows us to prioritize where our effort should be spent. what we're underpinning, what underpins our solutions is typically the usual off-the-shelf platforms. We heavily use Microsoft products. You can see there the solutions designed that image there about the Power Apps, Power Automate. So typically, you know, things that most organizations have to hand, most people have to hand, if they're willing to spend a little bit of money to get this on board. And what we end up doing then is having a bank of apps in the marketplace. The visual here it was done in Hack 8 at the weekend, an emissions reporting piece, which is now freely available, and allows us to basically take our expenses from our ERP systems that we all have. We all got to fill in an expense form, and out of that expense form, one of the expenses we put in is vehicle emissions, travel receipts, all that type of things. And what this now starts to do is it now starts to automatically calculate the CO2 emissions as a result of the project's travel. Now, what that then allows you to do is think, well, should I really be traveling? It allows you to ask personal questions of yourself. It allows you to ask questions of your organization as to how much is appropriate. And that has a whole bunch of regulatory reporting requirements that are going forward and fits in nicely with the COP26 climate change conference in Glasgow later on this year. So big, wide picture, but what we're asking from you is get involved. Let us know your challenges. Let us know the sort of dashboards that you're working on, the sort of automations that you'd like to see solved. Get involved, put some ideas forward. Nothing's a silly idea. We've all got the same problems. Get involved, put these forward to us, and we'll look to prioritize them and look to see if we can solve some challenges for you.